Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is one of my first videos, but hopefully they will improve as I go on. So for today, I would like to introduce how to do a Quest conversion from PC to Quest platform for VRChat. Now I know there's dozens and dozens of videos out there, but the reason why I'm making videos is I feel that those videos don't explain in depth enough about why we do the things we do, why you're clicking this, why you're doing that. It just says do XYZ, but it doesn't tell you why. And then when you go to try and reproduce those steps to something similar, it's really hard to do because you only know how to do this specific one thing that the video is about. And so my goal is to give you a more broad understanding while also answering the question that's at hand. And in this case, I want to give you a broad understanding of how to do a Quest conversion and also some tips and tricks I've learned along the way. And let's get started. So this is assuming that you already have an existing avatar for PC. It's all ready to go. It's all done. You should never start a Quest conversion unless your avatar is completely done, because going back and modifying it tends to be cumbersome. So let's start. I'm going to switch over to Unity. So this is my Unity. I have my avatar right here. It's just, this is a Albers Hyenid. And so right now it has PC shaders and all of that. So the first thing you have to do is make sure you're logged into your SDK. You're signed in. It has your avatar set up here. If you haven't, I would publish it to PC first because this is just something I set up just for demonstration purposes. It's not actually published to my account yet. But once you're in this, once you're in your SDK panel, and you can get there by going to VRChat SDK and then show control panel, and I'll give you a tab. The thing about, by the way, this is how it shows up, right? But this can get in the way. So what do? I grab the tab, move the tab over here, and now I can dock it. And it doesn't have to go there. I can put it there. I can put it there. I can put it anywhere, but I keep it over here. Right. So you're going to go to selected platform, and you're going to click Android. Now, you should have already, the Android SDK should have already been installed when you installed Unity. So that shouldn't be a problem. So we're going to switch here, and it's going to ask, and it's going to take a little bit to build. Okay, so welcome back. Once it's finished converting to the Android platform, you'll be here, switch back to your Builder tab. Now, you're going to get a bunch of these errors. That's normal. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. There will be an error here that says Android default texture is the wrong form. Please set it to this. Just click autofix. Whenever you see autofix, almost always go ahead and click it. Now, I say that, but right here it says constraint types will be removed. Autofix here will delete it. Now, the one below it, not too long ago, VRChat made their own version of Unity constraints. Now, if you click autofix here, it's going to delete all Unity constraints. If you click this autofix, it's going to replace them all with the Quest Safe version. So don't click this one. Click the one for the one that says click autofix to attempt to replace all constraints and rebind avatar animations automatically. Now it's going to give you a pop-up and it says all Unity constraints will be replaced if the avatar references yada yada. It's just saying if your animator is complex, you may want to back up. I haven't ran into any issues, so you should be okay, but that's up to your choice to make. Okay, so now we have a few errors here. This one says avatar uses unsupported shader PyLE tune. Okay, so the thing with this is I'm going to teach you how to make it Quest compatible in the same project. There's a way to do this with two different projects, but it takes up more space, and it's very easy to do in one project as long as you keep your hierarchy organized. So right here, I always like to save too periodically. So here we go. So this is my high unit. I'm gonna rename this one to PC, and then I'm going to save, copy, paste. I'm going to disable this one in the hierarchy, and then I'm going to come over here and go, all right, we're going to change this to Quest. All right, so now I have a Quest version. This is what's going to be uploaded to the Quest side. You don't want this one enabled because we don't want to upload that one. So what I always like to do, especially if I'm doing like my own custom textures, I'll have a folder here. I'll name it. I always do exclamation underscore and then custom. I always make that the first folder. Putting those symbols first makes it go with the front. And then I open it up, create folder. Now, if I have my own materials or own textures, I'll make a PC folder and I'll put it in there. But because we're, for simplicity's sake, and I'm going to show you also how an easy way to find where the PC materials live, we're just going to leave them where they are. And we're going to instead just create our Quest folder. Here we go, folder, and we're going to name this Quest. Okay, so now we have our two folders. So we're going to look through here. Let's open it up. All right, body. So we see that here. So see that material? You can look down here and you look at the name and it says, okay, that's a Pyomi tune. Pyomi is not allowed. We can only use the VRChat one. So we're going to come over here. Now, in order to set a shader or material, you would click the circle on the right, and then you can click from here. But you can click the box and it actually brings you to that location of where it lives. So right there it is. Now, I also want to see what textures it references because we need to compress the textures. They're going to be way too big as is. So we're going to take the, now same concept here. Click in the box, references where the material lives, right? So I know that I'm going to need, let's see. So we want this material, this. So I'm doing clicking and selecting, holding control, select, and then let's see. That's roughness, and I'm going to want the emission. Okay, cool. So I've got all those. And then I'm going to come over here, let's see. Control C. And I'm going to come back over here to my custom folder. And I can actually do the drop down here on the side. Come into Quest. Control V. Now it's going to just take a moment. Just importing everything again. Okay. Now, over here, you click the drop down, VRChat, mobile. All right, bunch of shaders in here. Almost always using standard light. Almost always. But I'll show you a few cases where you won't. Okay, standard light. Now, these that are being referenced here are still in the PC folder. It just copies the reference. So we want to come back here and we want to re-reference everything. Body mat, okay. And then I know there's an emission map in here, so I want to swap that. Okay, so now I've re-referenced everything. Now the thing is this is looking for a RGBA map. This reference map right here is just grayscale. Now it doesn't know what to do with that, so we have to convert it into a form that works for us. So I always import Pyomi Tune because it comes with Thry's texture packer, and you can find that by coming to Thry and texture packer. All right, so now we have this window, and it's got a bunch of slots, and then it has this output here. So I will probably put graphics on the screen to explain this. So the key code for this is red is metallics, green is ambient occlusion, blue is specular, if I'm not mistaken, and alpha is smoothness. So we don't have a metallic map, so we're going to leave the red empty. We don't have occlusion, leave that empty. Almost never use specular. Okay, so all I have left is my roughness. So drag that in here. Roughness map. For when you're using a grayscale, you're going to take the max node. You grab that max node, throw it in here. Now, remember what I said. The shader is looking for smoothness. This is a roughness map. So that doesn't do. So we have to go in here and select invert, right? Show transparency off. It's going to be just a black image, but you'll see that it's baked into here, into the alpha channel. Now, I'm going to change the folder, clicking this button right here. So it goes to this folder we're in. So I'm going to click that folder. Now you should know how to navigate your folders. So you'll come into the PC folder. Cool. Now I always come over here and I'll be like, okay, this is the body map. What am I going to name it? Body packed. Alpha's transparency is off. Save. Cool. Now, come over here to our shader. Where did it go? Oh, I put it in the PC folder. My mistake. So, now we have our packed map. Throw that up here at our metallic smoothness map. And then make sure your sliders are all the way up. So now, and you may have noticed when I did that, these teeth right here became shiny. The mouth became shiny because it's got a little bit of reflectance to it. So now it's properly mapped. Now if I just throw this in, not so good. So you have to map it to the proper channel. So now that I've mapped that material's done, but I do like to go back here and say, okay, we don't need this to be high quality. We have a limit here. So I usually go 2048, normal quality, enable crunch compression for color textures. And I usually do, I think, let me double check. Okay, for this is a little different. I start at 2048 normal quality. Actually, I usually do low quality here. Yeah, that helps. Okay, so now it's at 1 megabyte. And when I come over here, okay, you no need for you to be this large. You can come back to 1024, low quality, crunch compression on. Now it's 256 kilobytes, pardon. And then same with, the rest of these here. They don't need to be what they're at. So we'll just do 50 and then 1024. Okay, so now we've compressed them down. Okay, so come over here. We're looking at our quest now. Now we need to just take our body material and swap. Drag and drop. Sweet. You've noticed a difference, but now it's our optimized quest compatible version. Now we go down the list. Okay, so we're looking at the eyes. I'm just using default eyes here. Okay, green eyes. Green eyes, this is a roughness, another roughness map. So we'll take that, Control C, quest. And then we're gonna come over here. Okay, so for this, it comes with a roughness map, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Now there's a shader that captures just a color texture. So if you go to VRChat, Mobile, Toonlit, just a texture. Doesn't have any of the other fancy stuff. It's just the texture. So now we put in this one right here. We don't need it to be this big. It's eyes. You're not going to look at it that closely. I would probably even do just 512. I would compress that. Make sure I've referenced it. Come over here to eyes. Swap. And look, you can't even tell that it's that compressed unless you look really close. But even then, I mean, if you're really worried about it, this compressor quality right here, this is the quality of the compressor. So higher number means better quality. Lower number means lower quality. So if you want to put it up here, that's okay. It's not going to hurt it. It's going to look a little less grainy, right? So, and why we're doing this is the resolution of the quest anyways isn't great. And so you can get away with cutting corners because it doesn't really show up. The resolution's already lower than if you do PCVR. So you can cut these corners here and save a bit of room by doing it lower than on the PC side. But that's always why you want to make copies. Because if you use these lower resolution on the PC side, you're going to notice. It's pretty obvious. And I'm able to usually pick out, oh, that's a quest that was uploaded to PC side. So so we've done the eyes, swap the eyes, we've got our new eyes here. Okay, eye gloss matte. So Quest does not have transparent shaders, or not really. But look what happens when I take this, right? So I'm gonna take this, grab its texture too. I'm gonna go to Quest, throw that sucker in. Now I switch it. Let's do VRChat Mobile Standard Light, right? And then I'm gonna come over here to eyes, and now I have cataracts. And there's no way to make this a transparent, no matter what the alpha is. I can't make it transparent. So, but you can't just throw in here. If you go into the eyes, you can't just throw this in here either. See, that's not correct. Now, oh, also while I'm here, so there are two ways to navigate. Middle mouse click, so right click and look up and down. Alt click and rotate. Control Alt. Now you can also hold your right click until that little icon pops up. W or D, A, W, S, Q, and E. If you want to move faster, you can hold Shift. If you want to adjust the increment of speed, use your mouse wheel. You see that number? Now I'm going a lot slower. I'm holding Shift, right? So now I can like really get up in there if I need to check a detail. I can just, without zipping through the body. So I can just use that. So that's how I usually get around nowadays, is with the holding right click and WASD. Anywho, so eyes. Doesn't work. Can't use the original eye shader. What do? Well, it's simple. You're going to put your eyeglass material back in. You're going to go over here, VRChat Mobile Particles Multiply. And now you have a transparent shader. It's not shiny, but it does not cover the eye, so you can actually see underneath. And that's what we care about. So now if you ever have something like glasses, for example, you can't really have a transparent shader, but you can make it an invisible shader by changing it to this multiply particles. And that's your workaround. So we just keep on going through our list. All right, hair A. So hair A uses one body. We already converted one body, so let's swap it. Okay. Hair B also uses one body. Swap that in there. Cool. Alrighty, this uses A1 main. Click here. I mean, you know the drill by now. All right, A1 main, and we want the roughness. So let's see, for this one it has a thigh-highs version and a fishnet. So since we have just the thigh-highs, we'll grab that one. So grab that, and that. Control C, come over here to Quest, Control V. So we're grabbing our materials, right? Just wait for it to do its thing. Cool. Over here, VRChat, Mobile, Standard Light, re-reference the materials. Now you'll see I'm just dumping it all in one folder. And for a small project as small as this with only a few shaders, you can get away with that. But when you start getting into 8, 10, 12 materials, and each of them has 5 or 6 textures, it's gonna get hectic. So if you have more than just a few materials, if you have like, I think this one has like maybe 7 materials. If you start getting up into the double digits, create folders. Create a folder in here. And you know what? Just because I'm showing it, I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna do a body folder, right? This one goes with body. This one goes with body. That's a body, that's a body, cool. Grab the 2 of those, that goes in there. Okay, cool, body mat. Great, let's do it. Folder, eyes. Grab the eyes, that one. Count the transparent shader, that one can go over there too. But that's also eyes. Cool. This is also a mission for the body. Cool. Great. Now we can go outfit. grab all of that, drag it in here. Okay. So re-reference the material. All right, so these don't need to be what they are. So we can do what 1024 below. That's good enough. All right, cool. So this one's another roughness map. Remember, throw that in here. It doesn't like going in there as a grayscale. So we're gonna make another pack. And this time it saves where it's set up. The only thing you may have to do is change the folder. And let me do that now because I put it in the wrong folder to begin with. Change folder. So I'm just gonna have a dump in the quest folder and then I can move it from there. So, all right, so now we're gonna name this to outfit packed. Make sure we reference the outfit texture. Save. Go back to the quest. Oh, here it is. Outfit. Here's my outfit. Doesn't need to be that big because it's just a detail. There we go. Cool. Throw that in there. And now we'll notice that there is a little bit of shine to it, just the smallest bit. And if you think that it's not, like, sometimes it has a texture, but it doesn't really do anything. If you feel like it doesn't have any use, you can click the circle dot, and I just type in gibberish is what I do. Click none, and then you can just manually use your sliders and just adjust it yourself to your specifications. You can have it off if you don't want any sort of reflections on it. You can have just metallic. So you don't always have to use a texture. Sometimes I use a map and it's a little overkill. And when you're doing quests, you want to save space. But for this one, I'm gonna keep the map. Okay, moving on. Let's see. So this uses A1 main. Make sure we actually swap it. Come over here and take a look. This one uses A1 main and pin A, so we needed to do a pin A. Now this one has just a base. So we can take just this one here, copy, paste. If it has like 2 assets, no point in making a folder, just paste it in here. Unless it starts adding up, then maybe cordon them off accordingly. But for this, it's literally material and texture. For this, I'm just gonna use the mobile toonlet. Re-reference the texture. Now the pin here, if I remember this correctly, it's just this little pin here. You can leave it at high quality. I'll just put it at normal. It's fine. Make sure, I might have already done that, but it's always, doesn't hurt to double check. Let's see, so here, go to the pin, and look, not much of a difference. They usually do high quality and it doesn't make any difference even visually. So save yourself the space. All right, so go outfit. So that one's still the Pyomi, so we want to switch that to this one, and piercings. All right, so I forgot if you ever come across an internal error shader, right, so we're gonna go over to here. All right, I forgot to switch these back. You can always just shift select them, and just pick a shader, and like if you pick Pyomi Tune, say 80% of the time it properly remaps. See, look, it looks fine. So we're just gonna keep the iron piercings, grab those 2 assets, custom, quest, and see it as another 2, so I'm not gonna make a new folder. All right, VRChat Mobile Toonlet, because it's just a texture. It doesn't need all the extra stuff. Now, why am I doing Toonlet instead of standard light when I have just a color texture? Because there's no point in having that extra, it's just adding extra size. If you're using just the color, then don't add the extra slots. They make this for a reason so that you can save space, because it does add up. If you have 5 materials and they only have color maps, that excess that you will actually save is worth considering, especially when you start adding more assets, more accessories, more clothing. because you get 10 megabytes only. 10 megabytes compressed, 40 megabytes uncompressed. So re-reference that texture, piercings, swap it. Cool. Now we come over here to the SDK. Now let's see. So it says standard. Which one of these is standard, right? So we need to figure out, okay, where is it coming with this? Let's just scan through. Body, okay. Standard light, okay. Standard light, toonlet, standard light, toonlet. Okay. So there must be something here that has a standard shader. I don't know where it is. So first thing is you can use it now, and it's always good to save. Control S is your save hotkey. So get into the habit of doing that regularly, because if your computer decides to just stop working like mine randomly does, you don't want to lose all that work. Anywho, we're gonna look for where this shader might be, and best way to do that is going to go T and then mesh renderer. Help plane. Oh, see? I didn't even know that was there. So now you're going to look at your hierarchy at the bottom here, right? This one says it's in the quest. This one says it's in the PC side. We want to leave the PC side alone. So we're going to go to the quest side. Now, the other thing you can look for is another place you can find hidden particles. So you can do that. T, skinned mesh renderer. So that shows us all those, and just check your hierarchy, make sure you're looking at your quest. The other one, and I have to double check particle. You're gonna look for T colon particle system. And that should show, so if I add particles here, see, it shows our particles here. But that's just, obviously you wouldn't add that. But that's just to show you, particles are a great place to find shaders that you didn't realize were there. So anyway, so we're going to go back to our mesh renderer, T colon mesh renderer, help plane. You can close it. Once you've selected it, you can actually close the search and it will keep selected. So for this is just like, let's see what this looks like. Help screen, right? So this is just a gestures guide. If you see something like this and you don't think you'll need it, you can just delete it. I'm going to, but you know the drill. You'd grab your material, you'd copy the material and the texture, and then you'd switch it to the appropriate shader. But for this case, I'm just going to delete it. Okay, now we come over here to the SDK. Cool. Alrighty, PhysBones. Now, I did go to the liberty of adding a bunch of random PhysBones so I could show you how to find them. just for your benefit. So, same way as we've done before. T colon stands for type, right? So when I'm typing T colon, that's saying I'm looking for the type that matches this component. Now, for example, so when I'm looking here, let's see, come here. This is a component. Let's see. This is a component. This is a component. This is a component. So these are all components you can search for. And so I want to look for all PhysBones. So T, VRC, PhysBone. And now I can see all my PhysBones here. And now, like I said, I added a bunch of ones that you don't need, just for demonstration. But see, so this one, I don't need this one. Right click, remove component. This one's also on the quest. I don't need that one. Let's see. This one's on the tail, but the hips already has a tailbone, or the armature already has a tailbone. So you can, so I was going to delete this one too. And then breast R, breast L. So now that we've looked through and we're going, okay, I've optimized all these ones that I don't think I need. So now I can look back here and say, okay, that's it. So now I'm going to also show you another error you might come across. So again, this is obviously not what you would do, but I'm going to add a PhysBone here. All right. And you're going to notice now that there's PhysBones all over the place. Too many transforms. What does that mean? Well, a transform is a bone that is affected by PhysBone. So, for example, when we're looking at the tail, and you can expand by select children. So this tail is the root of the PhysBone, and then it affects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transforms. So you can have up to 8 PhysBones, and those 8 PhysBones can affect no more than 64 transforms. So even if you've gotten it down to below 8 or 8, and you're still getting this error right here, it's because you actually have to reduce how many PhysBones it's affecting. How do I do that? Okay, so you come to your PhysBone that you're working on, right? There's this drop down called Ignore Transforms. You just adjust the number. So we're just going to ignore, just for demonstration, I'm just going to ignore 2 of these, right? So now when I come over here, what do I want to ignore? I want to ignore, so I'm looking at just what it affects here. I'm going to ignore the spine and the tail, right? Come back to your SDK and now look, now the number transforms and you can actually see when I undo it here. See these lines? Those are the PhysBones. As I adjust those are now being they're not disappearing. So once you've done all of that, you're pretty much good to go. Now, another toolkit you should use, tools, and I will in another video I'll show you how to install packages for this. I'm assuming you already know, and I'll add that later. But you're gonna go to your tools, gesture manager emulator. Cool. Enter play mode. Cool, come to our scene. All right, so this tool allows me to check if I've added clothing. I can check to make sure it's bound properly. Oh, right, the thigh fit, the leg PhysBones. Cool. Right, I added that. Yeah, well, yeah, that point aside, you can check to make sure everything's functioning properly. You can, make sure all of your toggles are working, etc. So once you're done, you can just click back to the gesture manager. Or actually, no, you click the play button up here at the top. Now I have to figure out why. Oh, this one. Yeah, right. Just remove that. Okay. So now that I'm ready to go, it's all set and done. Okay, let's just do YT test. And we're just capture from scene. Cool. Alrighty. So once there's no, so the thing with errors is these mains, it's going to be bad for performance. This means it's something you should be worried about. This means it's not great. This is just, tips and tricks. If you see any errors that have the exclamation, they're red and they're a stop sign shape, they're an octagon, it will not let you upload until those are resolved, right? So if I go ahead here, so like, okay, I can upload right now. But if I go back here and add that PhysBone that affects everything, right? I can now no longer upload because it's a stop sign. Stop. You cannot upload until this is fixed, right? So undo. So now I can upload. I'll wait for the fix. All right, build and publish. If Thry ever asks you this, the bad lighting fix, go guess. Just let it build. It's your first upload will always take the longest, although even with Quest, it's usually pretty quick. All right, so I have a problem. Something's too big, but I don't know how to view that, right? I don't have any way to see what's too big. I will be linking in the description. It's a free open source script. I use it all the time. It's absolutely fantastic. You're going to want to use it. It's a build size viewer. Build size viewer. You just drag and drop this into your downloads. Anywhere. Ideally in your assets folder, whatever. I just threw it there. Cool. Window. Mooney. VRC build size viewer. You can talk it just like I do. Read build log. Now, even if your build failed, you can still read it. Okay, so we're looking here. Oh no, there's a texture, 19 megs, 19 megabytes, right? That's way too big. There's an outfit, A1. So that means, okay, we missed something, right? So we'll go over here. Let's do the easy check first. You can click this. Okay, so it's referencing A1. But, oh, okay, this is what I forgot to do. I forgot to compress this. There we go. Now it's in a more appropriate size. Great. Now the other thing is sometimes you will find when you convert from Pyomi, you will find hiding textures like this one right here. If you're not going to use it, type in gibberish, click none, disable it. Go ahead, if you ever see something and you know that you've already changed it, like we already went to the body. I know I'm not using it, but we've already changed it here, and this is the compress size. But that can be something huge that you may not even notice, and I've had that happen so many times where it's this big texture that I just didn't know was there. So now that I've done that, go ahead, push it again. And you may end up doing this like multiple times, every few minutes, just to see over and over. So it uploads. That's good. That's it. Now, important things for troubleshooting. When you are making your Quest compatible avatar, do not, and I repeat, do not delete any menu items. So you know your expressions menu, right? You can scroll down here and navigate to it. Always use the same expression menu. Always use the same parameters. If you add a toggle, if you use VRC Fury to add a toggle, and I'll explain that in another video, if you're going to add it to this side, add it to this side as well, even if it doesn't do anything. Just add it, because it will still reference itself. It will still add a parameter to your list. But if your lists are not identical on PC and Quest side, it will cause issues. Toggles will not work. Things may be not adjusting properly. These lists have to match, because all VRChat is doing is going, okay, PC user over here, I switch, I use the snoot float, right? I use the slider. And all the Quest side is doing is saying, okay, I'm looking for a variable at this index, it's a float, and set it to this value, all right? If it sees this here, like gesture toggle, it's gonna throw an error, and everything after will also not work, right? So just make sure your list match, you're using the same parameter list for both sides. That can result in toggles not functioning properly, and I've had that happen on too many occasions, so I'm giving you that information now to hopefully save yourself the trouble. But if you ever have an issue where toggles are not syncing, or things are visible on Quest but they aren't on PC, or vice versa, it probably has something to do with your parameter list, right? The other thing is, well, actually, no, I think that's all I have for now on all this. But I will be linking this build size build size viewer, because now if we read it, typically you shouldn't have a texture larger than the FBX, which is your model file. If your texture is bigger than your model, you either have a really small model with a complex texture, or you just forgot to compress it. Rule of thumb for me is if I see something above my FBXs, I've forgotten to compress it, or it's not compressed enough. Colors, I usually like to half it. So the color texture, I like to cut it in half. Detail textures, I like to cut it into a quarter. So if it's 2048, I'll sometimes do 1024, like for avatars with a few assets. But if I'm starting to run low in space, I'll cut it down to 512. And that's up to you to make that call, and it just changes from avatar to avatar. I like to do it by hand because it allows me to have the most control. Now, the other thing is once you're ready to switch back to PC, go to your inspector. You're just going to click your Quest here, disable it. Cool. Now you're back on the PC side. And then you'll go into here and just switch windows. I'm not going to do it because there's no point to watch that. So that's what I've got for you. This is how I like to do my quest conversions. I like to do it by hand, and I like to have a neat and orderly structure. I may do a follow-up video on this if I feel like I want to do an example of a more complex avatar, just to kind of reiterate the importance of hierarchy. But this is what I've got for now. Now, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please leave a like and subscribe. I can't believe I'm saying this. Please leave a like and subscribe. No, not even. If you found this video useful, share it with your friends. If your friends do Unity stuff too, at least show it to them. You don't have to like and subscribe. Appreciate it, but you do what rocks you. Just at least if you found this video helpful, share it with someone else, because chances are they'll learn something they didn't know. Even if they've been doing it for years. I've learned things that I haven't known for, I've been doing this for a year now, and I still learn things. So don't be afraid to show it to people and just say, hey, just skim through it, because I like sharing my knowledge. So with that, I'll see you in the next video. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments section. Thank you.